Welcome to The Gift of Choice, hosted by entrepreneurial coach and holistic nurse practitioner Bonnie Groessl. Bonnie and her guest offer information and motivation each week to help you live your dream and attain the health, happiness, and abundance you deserve. Now, here's the host of The Gift of Choice, Bonnie Groessl.
Welcome, everyone. This is your host, Bonnie Groessl, here at The Gift of Choice. Now, today we're going to talk about daydreaming, and we're going to get to that in just a moment. But first, I always want to take a moment to thank you for being here. I so appreciate that you take time out of your day to spend with me here on the show. Whether you're listening to the show when it first is aired on a Monday morning at 3 a.m. Central, which might be the middle of the day for where you are, or if you're listening 2 years from now, it doesn't matter. I just want to thank you for taking your time to listen. Now, I always want to take time when we get together every Monday, and I know I say this every week, but I think we all benefit from that little reminder. Just take time today for you. Just stop. Just stop for a moment or two. It doesn't take very long, really. And just stop what you're doing and simply focus on your breathing as the air comes in. Take all the goodness that the world has for you. And as you exhale, let everything go that you don't need right now. Everything else can wait. Taking that moment or two for you each day. Actually, if you can do this a few times throughout the day, it is so healthy, so fulfilling and renewing and regenerating. So I always want to take time when we get together for the show to remind you to take that time for you. Now, having said that, I want you to remember that the gift of choice is educational, inspirational, and motivational in nature, but I always want you to just take what fits for you and simply let go of the rest. The gift of choice show does not intend or imply to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment either. I always want to preface every show with that little reminder for all of us. So you've got a reminder to take time for you, and a reminder that this is not a substitute for medical care. And I also want to remind you to check the show page. If you have questions, comments, I would love to hear from you. You can connect with me. I put some links below, like on my website, my Facebook page. And I always have free gifts for you as well. So make sure you check that out before you leave today. So having all of this sort of the housekeeping out of the way, let's get to our topic for today. Our topic for today is about daydreaming. If we take the time to just imagine, to just daydream, it can be so rewarding for us. Now, what many of us do is we do imagine things and we daydream, but it's usually not good stuff, right? We're usually worried about something or something, we're thinking of the worst case scenario or whatever. I'm talking about daydreaming about what you want. A while ago, I think it was last week on the show, we talked about focusing on what you want and not what you don't want. Well, if you're daydreaming or imagining something that you don't want, you're worried about something, whatever, that's focusing on what you don't want. I want you to reverse that and just focus on what you do want. Pretend as if. Put your life out there and just imagine what it feels like, what it is like when you are to whatever goal it is you're going for. So let's say you want to lose weight, as an example. So don't think about, I weigh too much or I'm too fat or whatever you're saying to yourself. All that negative self-talk is really not good for us. So flip that around and just imagine what it will feel like when you fit into your favorite skinny jeans, right? Or whatever it is for you. Imagine what that feels like when you have the energy to, go for a walk or run outside if you feel like it without huffing and puffing or whatever. However you want to be, that's what you should daydream about, I think. Because we often don't give that enough attention. Number one, we think about what we don't want too much, and that becomes our dominant thought. What you want the positive daydreaming to be is to become your dominant way of being. It's a frequency. It's an energy thing. So you really want that vibration higher. You want your energy, going out there better at a higher level. It also, when you take that time to daydream, you're kind of shutting everything else out, aren't you? You're like not, thinking about, oh, I got to run to the store later to get milk or whatever it is. You're in that daydream. You're in that other reality. And when you're in that space, you're in that inner place, right? That's when you can hear your angel messages better. That's when you can hear your intuition better. If you have a question you're struggling with, ask it. And then go into a daydreaming sequence, and chances are the answer is going to come to you because we have all the answers inside of us anyway. So people might say, okay, I know how to worry because I do that. So I can imagine, because everyone can imagine, because we all do it. We just don't think of it as imagining. But sometimes people say, okay, well, how do I actually daydream? What's the best way to do that? And really, in my mind, it's very simple. Relaxing. I mean, it's all about starting there. To just kind of relax your body. And you may want to do that as you are focusing on your breathing, like we talked about earlier in the show, the thing that I remind you to do every week when we get together. Starting there is a great place. Just begin to come into that inner place, to come into that inner space where you feel good. Because if you go to that inner space and you don't feel good, then there's something else going on. And it might be appropriate then to seek, medical attention or advice. But if you go to that inner place and you can get to that good feeling, that good place, just allow whatever happens to happen. I mean, that's what daydreaming is all about. It's just kind of not necessarily forcing it, but just letting it flow. So maybe you start with a certain scene that you start with. I often start in this field of wildflowers, and there's it's like a clearing and there's trees around the outside. That's where I like to start my daydreaming, and then it's wherever you go from there. So you might be the same. You might want to start in a certain place. Maybe it's the comfort of your own bed. Maybe it's a beach. Maybe it's a field of flowers like it is for me. But just begin there and then just sort of let go. And if you've asked yourself a question, if you've asked that inner part of you a question, or you're struggling with something, or you really want something to change in your life, chances are, if you've given that attention in a positive way, that's where you're going to go on your daydream. Daydreaming can be very scripted. It can be, okay, I want to imagine this. But I think there's more power to just kind of letting it go. Just letting it go, opening your mind, and just relaxing into whatever comes. It can be, it's kind of like watching a movie. You're watching a movie of yourself and you're watching that unfold. So with daydreaming, you can actually make a movie of your life the way you want your life to be. And hang out there for a bit. When you spend some time daydreaming and imagining, and you're in that good place, I always tell people, stay there for a bit, hang out there for a while, because it feels good. That whole time that you're doing that, you're raising your energy, you're raising your vibration, and you're closer to what you actually want, as opposed to what, you don't want, or the lack of something. So daydreaming can be hugely powerful and important and easy to do. I mean, we do it anyway. We just kind of normally do it in the negative perspective. Am I right? If for those of you who are listening, whenever you're listening to this, I'm sure that you can relate, because I know I do it. Everybody does it. We can think about all the things we like, worst case scenario, things we worry about, things we think are going to happen, or things we don't like we're overweight, or we're not in good shape, or we don't have enough money, or we're not in the relationship we want, or whatever it is. We're really good at imagining that, aren't we? We're really good at daydreaming about that. But we're not so good about daydreaming about what we do want, about the positive stuff, about how you really want your life to be. And doesn't it feel good if you're imagining about how you want your life to be? Doesn't it feel good to hang out there? It just puts a smile on your face. So my suggestion in your homework this week is to play with this a little bit. Play with pretending in a positive way, the way you want your life to be, whatever issue you're dealing with to be resolved. Whatever the situation is, you can use that power of your mind, the energy, your vibrational frequency, all of those things to get to where you want to be. So I hope you enjoyed that little tidbit for you today on the gift of choice. And until next time, blessings, everyone.
You've been listening to The Gift of Choice, hosted by Bonnie Groessl. The Gift of Choice has been brought to you by MMB Global Solutions, your source for individualized coaching for entrepreneurs and authors, along with book editing and publishing services. For more information, go to mnbglobalsolutions.com.